This is the Mexico Revealed podcast. Welcome to the Mexico Revealed podcast.
Yeah.
As you can see, we've got two guests on the show today.
Woohoo! Episode 13, right, Melissa? Are we at the 13 now?
13.
That's great. So we've had in the past as a guest on here Mike, who's with Melissa. You can see how people are kind of paired up. But
Not me.
Caroline now has been paired up. Tell us, Caroline, what is going on? Who is this Taylor person?
Taylor is my husband. We just got
What?
Married.
Oh, man.
weeks ago.
How long have you been married?
We've
2 weeks and 3 days.
Bam.
been-
Veterans.
Yep.
Melissa, you and Mike have been married for how long now?
3 years.
3 years. And Scott, you and I have been married.
Normally I ask you that question because you have to do the math, right?
Yeah.
We have been married in May, we reached 27 years.
Yes.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty good.
Currently single, by the way.
I'm still available.
That's right. That's right.
right.
For you, all the single ladies out there.
Yeah. Not for a
That's
couple.
Yeah. Not for a couple of years, though.
right. Yeah, they're just going to have to be in waiting, salivating. Right? Good things come to those who wait. So,
Okay.
so we were just talking about how, I mean, obviously as a family, we've spent a lot of time in Mexico. So if you're thinking about joining our family in some capacity, as these young men have, there is some risk that you might get exposed to Mexico at some point.
Yeah.
And I guess in your case, Mike, that's come to fruition, would you say?
Definitely. Yeah, we've never been to Mexico before I married Melissa, and now you can't go 1 year without going to Mexico. So
Been 4 times, right?
4 times in 3 years.
Okay, so averaging more than 1 visit to Mexico per year over the course of their marriage.
Yep.
And Taylor and Caroline, you mentioned you've been married for how many days again, did you say?
2 weeks and 3 days.
Okay, and how many visits to Mexico have you made now, Taylor? You had never been to Mexico before marrying
I've
Caroline,
never
right?
been, never in my life, never in my 24 years.
Okay, and now how many times have you been?
I've been one time for a week.
So at that rate, that's like once every 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
you're on a pace to 26 times in this year. So you're
Half the marriage. Go for it.
spent half the marriage in Mexico.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's the danger. That's the danger of joining the family, I guess. So anyway, we wanted to get Taylor on here, first introduce you to everybody in our audience, and learn from a first-timer, right? Because we talk about what it's like to visit Mexico and things you can do, ways to visit. And one of the things you can do that's very popular is go to the beach. So I think that's kind of how you guys started, right, Taylor and Caroline? So Caroline, you took him down there. Taylor, what was, give us your first impressions. How was it going to Mexico for the first time?
And
Yeah.
where did you go?
We went to Cancun, classic honeymoon location. And we stayed at a hotel called, or an all-inclusive resort called Excellence Playa Mujeres. We recommend. We don't have a promo code, but we'll contact them and see if we can get one for all the
Closer.
That was good. I like the pronunciation on mujeres. That was very good, Taylor.
Yeah,
Muy bien.
Excellent. Muy bien.
Thumbs up.
Good at Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how did you choose that place?
My sister and brother-in-law stayed there
10 years ago
10 years
on
ago.
their honeymoon.
And the best part was 10 years ago on their honeymoon, they also got a sash across the door that
They
said
pin a sash
they
across.
pin a sash that says honeymoon. It is our honeymoon.
We're celebrating our honeymoon.
Oh yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, there was a sash on our door that said, "We are celebrating our honeymoon."
Maybe it
Might
was the same one.
Yeah, they pulled the sash out of the storage closet.
Yeah, they did.
And we didn't find a single other door that said it is our honeymoon. But it was a great honeymoon location.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So tell us about first impressions arriving to Mexico, going to the hotel, the resort. What were your thoughts? Did it was it what you expected, or?
Well, I thought, it was really the flight was not bad from Utah. It was very quick. And once we landed, the airport was nice. But I think what was really funny was after we got our bags, we started walking out of the resort, and Caroline said to me, "Okay, Taylor, prepare yourself. When you walk out of the resort, there's going to be out of the terminal, there's going to be lots of people that are going to come up to you, and they're going to try to get you to get in their cars or to get a taxi."
Not like that.
Not scary.
Not like to get in my car. Like salesmen for taxi companies who are like, "Hey, cars. Like use my rental car company, take my taxi." That's their business. And so many salesmen.
So I thought there'd maybe be 10 when we walked outside, and there was probably 100 people just like swarming us, and and everybody else going out. And Caroline just said, "Just walk straight ahead. Just
keep going."
And we found our car company that would take us to our hotel, and that was pretty easy. They actually hadn't had our name on the thing, but they figured it out in about 10 minutes, even though our names weren't on the reservation list. They got us a car, and we were off to the hotel in
40 minutes.
40 minutes, yeah. And the driver was very nice. We talked to him, and Caroline talked to him straight in Spanish.
There you go.
I can't speak Spanish, but I can kind of understand Spanish because I speak Portuguese, and so I kind of could understand something they were saying, but there were definitely things lost in translation. But very, very nice man that took us to the hotel. And then when we got to the resort, and there were about 3 gates to get into the resort. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Drove in.
I mean, you have a little bit of an advantage because you spent time in Brazil, so you've been in Latin America, so to speak, right? And have been around some of those environments. So it probably wasn't as much of a new thing for you, right? I mean, there's some things that kind of span the hemisphere,
Yeah, there definitely are. Yeah, no, it was fun kind of driving through some of the neighborhoods. It reminded me a lot of Brazil. Just the neighborhoods we were driving by, and kind of talking to them about the economy and different things. So it felt nice. Felt like home. Felt like going back home.
Nice.
Very nice. And I guess
I think also if you have a language, it's easy to pick up stuff, because like Mike, German, but you've picked up a lot of Spanish from us.
Yeah. Mike has like phrases that he knows.
Digo, todos los días.
Muchacho.
I learned that in 7th grade, and I've never forgotten it since.
todos los días.
Yeah, I think once you learn a second language, picking up another language is a little easier, I think.
My dad, your grandpa's one phrase he knows in Spanish that he loves to say is "No tengo dinero."
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I guess so, Mike, you guys have been to so Cancun is like the mothership, really. I mean, I think there's just tons of tourists going through there and so many resorts and everything around there. So just big volume. Melissa and Mike, you went to Puerto Vallarta one of your trips, which is also a big tourist resort, but I think it was maybe a little bit different experience, right? A little bit not quite as hectic, like coming out of the airport and that sort of thing. Is that how it was? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember there's still a lot of people soliciting business and trying to get your attention, but probably not to the volume of Cancun, I'd imagine.
Definitely not to the volume of Cancun.
Mm-hmm. Cancun is massive.
Yeah. But it's so fun.
Yeah.
And also with Cancun, you have Cancun itself, you have Playa del Carmen, you have Tulum, even though I think they're building another airport down there. But
right.
That Cancun airport kind of services the whole Riviera Maya coast. So
Caroline, that was a great location because you didn't have to spend a ton of time driving.
Yeah.
Pretty quick just to get in and get going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Where was it? Tell us a little bit more about the resort.
It was north of like the main Cancun area, the hotel zone, they call it. Like 40 minutes north of the airport.
The beachfront that our resort was located on was right, facing right.
West
was that Isla Mujeres?
Isla Mujeres.
Isla Mujeres. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Isla.
like a small island.
Mm-hmm.
So we could see the island from the beach.
Yeah, and there were little ferries going back and forth between our resort and Isla Mujeres.
And so that was one of the things that was like an activity at the resort, was taking the ferry to the island, which we didn't do. Because we didn't have a lot of time. We only were there for 5 days, and we wish we would have stayed
like at least 7
to 10.
But we were both talking to each other about it, and we both kind of decided, okay, if we had to stay here for 2 weeks, we could do it.
It would be great.
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come too. That sounds awesome.
It was cool. And the food at our resort was amazing. The place had eight different restaurants.
Yep.
So and it was all like different kinds of
big
food.
restaurants, not just hole in the wall, like big restaurants, waiter, staff, everything.
Yeah. There was one that was French food. And there was one that was hibachi grill and a lobster themed one and an Indian themed one and a Mexican themed one. And the food, we'd never had like a disappointing meal at any of our meals.
That's good, because that can sometimes be a risk when you go to all inclusive, right? Because they may cut corners on the food, the meals a little bit, but you had a positive experience, huh?
It was such good quality. I think maybe the only place they did cut corners was the proportion sizes.
Yeah, just the proportion. So for the listeners, when you go, I made the mistake the first night. I got rack of lamb, lobster bisque, a chocolate lava cake, and I thought, I'll be great for the night. It was about 6 p.m. I ate it, and I was pretty hungry later on. I was snacking on the chips and it's small. So when you go, get 2-3 sides, 2 entrees if you want it. It's all inclusive. Might as well. Get all the appetizers.
They didn't give you a dirty look when you ordered extra stuff?
They were really nice.
We tipped well.
And we tipped well. we kind of followed. I thought we had kind of a good tipping mechanism where for dinner we do like 200 pesos. For lunch we do 100 pesos, and then
we wouldn't tip for breakfast because it was just a
buffet. And then while we were sitting by the pool, we do like 100 pesos, so about $5 for lunch and sitting by the pool, and about $10 for dinner.
Very nice, generous.
They liked us.
I thought it was good. For being 2 kids in their 20s.
It was good.
Well, that's good. It sounds like you had good variety there too, huh, in terms of the types of foods and stuff.
What about if what if it's 8 at night and dinner's over? Did they have
dinner ended about
from
10.
6 to
10.
6? No, and some of them were 6 to 11 p.m.
Oh yeah.
I already ate dinner at 6, and now
then you go for a second dinner.
And there's the little store. There's like a little cafe that has sandwiches that you can just grab, and gelato and ice cream. And it's all free. And what inclusive.
And what we would do every night is the resort had activities for the day. And it was really fun. Caroline and I, one day in the morning, we went to an archery lesson and competition,
which we won.
That was pretty funny.
The couples archery competition.
And then they would do
let's go.
And they would do
I don't care if it's the honeymoon or not. We're winning this thing.
We're winning. We got a little competitive. Caroline had actually never shot a bow. Yeah. I had because I got a bow. I got an archery merit badge at one point. That was the extent of my knowledge. But Caroline beat me every single time she shot the bow.
No, you got a bullseye the first time.
Sharpshooter.
I would get like 8s, 7s.
But it was fun, and the staff were super fun. They did like a little, the losers had to dance, and it was just so much fun. And we just did it on a whim.
Yeah.
And so would highly recommend engaging in the activities. And then they had like Zumba classes in the pool, and then they had handicrafts, and they like
making your own aloe vera. We missed that. But I wish we could have done that.
And then they'd have like pool, or you could do stuff on the beach. And then but what our favorite thing was after dinner, then they would have a show every single night. And so I think the first night we were there, it was like a burlesque show, but we decided not to go.
We went swimming.
We went swimming. We did some night swimming, and then the second night was African acrobatics, which was amazing. It was cool. Amazing. And then there was like a rock show the third night, and then the fourth night was a singer. I don't know if she was famous or not, but she was pretty good. They had and then they would have silent disco parties after that.
After the show.
So
with the headphones?
We had with the headphones.
It was awesome.
It was so much fun. And it was like everybody in the resort was
Do you like switch songs?
Yeah. It was 3 different DJs.
And it was so much fun. And
that was every night?
You should have done silent disco at your wedding.
I know. We start doing silent disco. That's awesome.
We thought we should do a silent disco. So Sam, when your wedding, when you're up, you should do silent disco.
Yeah, because then people can like choose which song they want.
And it's funny.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's funny watching people dance to different things. You can have like 3 different genres of music, and I mean, people
You're just
love
like
it.
In your own world. It's awesome.
Good.
They had silent dancing on the cruise ship.
You could have the groom and the bride each be a DJ for one of the songs.
Yeah.
The bride.
Yes.
I remember on the cruise that we went on Royal Caribbean, there was a silent disco, and Sam went and did it, and they were doing the cha-cha slide, and it was like the most ridiculous thing to watch because it was just
I was a hater at that point.
That's silent, and everyone was just like,
I was like just going through.
I guess the advantage too at a wedding reception with the silent disco is that for the people who don't want to dance and are just wanting to chat, there's like no noise, right?
Exactly.
You can just be doing your chatting.
And for people that don't want to chat, nor do they want to dance, they could just put on the headphones and just kind of sit there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people at the resort did, is they just sat back and enjoyed the music. That was great.
Oh man. How was the beach there?
It was so nice. They because I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, especially towards the end of the summer, a lot of seaweed builds up on the beaches.
The sargassum, they call that.
Yeah. And so, but at this resort, and kind of on the whole beach too.
Yeah, along the whole beach.
The whole coast of where we were, as far as we could see, they would clean up the seaweed every morning. It wasn't that much, but they would just take their tractor, zoom it along the beach, and clean it up. We saw it because there was one morning that we woke up at like 5:30 a.m. to watch the sunrise, and then we watched the tractor go by too.
Oh yeah.
Was the ocean like rocky?
No, it wasn't.
Sandy. It was nice.
Yeah.
How far could you go out before it's up to your neck?
We actually didn't go out that far because
you could. I would say like they definitely had it planned out where probably
like the little, kind of enclosure with the buoys, you know.
Yeah. But I'd say once you got out about 6 feet, so, you know, at that point, 6 feet, unless you're Scott, you're not really, you know, walking on the sand anymore. So then you're just swimming. At about that point, maybe there was a little seaweed, but we never really even could feel it. So I don't know what it was, but the water was a little darker. But everything before, you know, it got to 6 feet in depth, it was totally sandy.
Mm-hmm. And they also had like jet skis. Those I think you have to pay to reserve at the resort. But the resort also had paddle boards for free that you just had to reserve, and sailboats that like a worker would take you out on the little, not like a full size sailboat, but one of the small you can fit like 3 people on.
Yeah.
And snorkeling. All of that was included.
Yeah.
They have a banana boat.
They didn't have a banana boat, but
they had kayaks. You said kayaks?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they had kayaks. So.
Nice.
Did they have parasailing? Were there things like that?
They did have parasailing. Yes.
Did it have like a gym or tennis courts or things like that at all? Was that?
It had a gym.
No, it had a gym.
It did?
Yeah, it did.
Wow.
Yeah. We just
how
don't go
much
to that.
It did have it had tennis courts.
Yeah.
And it had a big spa. Our room actually overlooked the spa, and it was it's cool because they have a lazy river that goes around the spa.
Oh yeah.
Island. It was very nice looking.
This is making me want to take everybody and go. That sounds so fun.
I know. Lazy river.
Go.
Yeah, and ours was all adults resort. There were no kids. But then we found out that the resort next to it is also owned by Excellence, and it's a family resort. So it's
okay.
Sisters.
So you can bring your kids,
Very nice. So you didn't have to, for the food, there were no extra charges for any of the restaurants or anything like that.
But they free time, so
we do tip because that's like
that's
like really the culture in Mexico, right? Wouldn't you say? Lots of tipping.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. What was that, Miriam?
They give really good service.
Yeah, they give incredible service.
Servers.
Yeah, that's true.
Hoven.
Yeah. Exactly. So that sounds like a lot of fun. A good resort. The food was great. Your room was nice.
Yeah, and they'd go in and they clean it up twice a day.
Twice a day.
I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day we walked in, and they had a little swan. They had 2 swans with towels. A female swan and a male swan. I don't know the difference, but there was a difference in the swans.
We've seen that before, right? Haven't we, Marianne?
Yeah, and they put little rose petals around.
Yep.
Yeah. And actually, I think all of them, or maybe it was all, have a hot tub on the balcony.
Oh yeah, the hot tub on the balcony. And on the last day, we found out
balcony.
Yeah.
You had your own private.
I've seen that before. So
balcony.
Yeah, and a layout bed on the balcony.
And
you can just lay out.
Every single day, they'd restock the fridge with Mexican Coke. Well, lots of alcohol, but they do Mexican Coke,
Oreos,
juice, M&Ms. But the best part, Jumex. I drank Jumex every single day. Every single time they go in, I drink that Jumex. And
was that free, or is that included, or do you have to pay?
It was included.
Oh yeah.
The mini fridge was all included, and they'd restock it every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the part I loved about it was they would also put water bottles in the mini fridge.
Oh, that's
and so
true.
we'd get like 4 new water bottles.
Yeah, they were
day.
just tossing out water bottles everywhere. It was great.
You shouldn't like drink the faucet water in Mexico, so they just give you tons of water bottles.
Yeah. And I was learning that, even when you brush your teeth, you put the water bottle.
Well, I don't know. That's
just dad. That's that guy.
Me too. I use the water.
Oh, that way.
I just use the water bottle.
Yeah. That was very new to me.
For some, we didn't know how strong your immune system was gonna be.
I mean, I drink the water straight from the tap, straight from the faucet in Brazil. So I must be. But,
you've built up immunity.
Yeah, that's what I think. I wasn't too worried. I wasn't worried at all about the water, but
I mean, water is water after all.
Yeah. But the greatest was the Humex. Every day I drank a box of Humex.
What was your favorite Humex?
Well, they only gave me orange, so orange. Very good.
Very nice. Now, I think you guys, all inclusive, the nice thing is you can just hang out there, but you did do at least one excursion, right? Did you get off the property more than once, or just one time, or how was that?
One time did
Explore! Yes!
Explore!
Which I don't know if we've probably talked about it before on this podcast because our family has done it so many times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Explore.
right.
Yeah, but that was Taylor's first time. Yeah. So Taylor, what did you think of
Xplor?
Okay. His notes.
Everybody that needs it. Because that surprised me when we arrived and it wasn't spelled like Explore, but Explore.
Can throw you off.
Man, Explore was fantastic. We did the zipline. We did every single thing at Explore, so we could rank everything. I'd say number one zipline, ends in waters.
It's so high up. The zipline is so high up. It's a long course, and you end in like a waterfall.
Yep. And there's two zipline courses. Okay. Now remember this. It's just like the Disney rule. Always go left. Always go left.
Then also,
but we went right on the first one.
No, we went left.
No,
we went right.
Yeah, we went right.
But then don't make the mistake of leaving the zip line and then thinking, oh, we'll come back later for course 2.
Yeah.
No, just do them both then and there.
Yeah, you got it. You go through the first one, then you go straight to the second one.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter which one you do first. Just do them both.
But you got to do them both because the one that goes to the left is better because it's higher and it has a very long zip line.
Yeah.
And it's got a big tower. But the one to the right, I enjoyed a lot because it ends in 2 waterfalls and the last 2 zip lines. So each of them you go on about 10 different zip lines, but on the one that goes to the right, you end in a waterfall 2 different zip lines. So I thought it was a little refreshing.
Yes.
Mike, we took you to Explore, right? You've been to Explore? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, best place ever.
So we've all been there now.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, that's why I had to take Taylor there because we'd all been there. So he had to go.
I want to go again.
Caroline can
all do something new together.
Caroline can get a little aggressive on the ATV course.
You can. You can, but not when. And then, I'd say number 2 best thing there are the ATVs. And the ATVs, there are also 2 courses. There's the Rocky cave course,
and then there's the water course.
Water course. I like the wet water course a lot. Yeah, I love the wet water course because we just drive right in the water as fast as we can.
Taylor would press
the
accelerator.
He's gunning it into the pool, huh?
Not everywhere. Lots of
the water would go over our heads.
And it wasn't hot and it wasn't cold at Explore. It was just a great temperature. So every time we go in the water was warm, and then you dry off super quickly. It was fantastic. And then after, those are the 2 you got to do those 2 things in Explore, in my opinion. And then after that, you can probably do the rafting, the underground river rafting.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'd say would be the next best thing.
Ours was a little backed up though.
Yeah, ours was a little backed
so
up.
it wasn't as good as it could have been, but
yeah, there were some people that didn't know how to paddle. And then
I remember when we did the underwater rafting, like I think it was Sam and I that we just like speed ran the course. And like we didn't enjoy it at all. We just raced.
Yeah, we did.
Like these people were not.
We're trying to pass people all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening, but somebody didn't know how to paddle. And then after that, there's a river swim.
Where you put on your life jacket.
Yeah.
That one was so cold.
Yeah, that one was really, I mean.
That one, the water was cold.
It was a little cold. And it's a long swim. So they've got a short track and they've got a long track. And unless you're ready to swim for about an hour, you should take the short track because the long track is long.
The short one
was like long track?
No, we took the short track.
I was freezing.
But the long track was, I think, 12 times the distance of the short track. And the short track took us about 5 minutes to get around.
Yeah, so.
I think we took the long track when we went.
Yeah, we must have.
Yeah. And it was pretty long, but it was good though.
But then you get out and you're underground in that cenote and it's all warm and steamy.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then the last thing that you can kind of do, it's not necessarily the last thing, but then there's the underground expedition. And that one,
this is where you're like walking.
You kind of walk
through a river that's also underground.
That one was cool. We saw bats. There were bats in there.
Oh,
that was
scary.
Cool. And but yeah, that one was kind of short. But I think one of my favorite parts of Xplor, free food, all inclusive.
Yeah,
free food.
The buffet, it's pretty good.
Buffet, and the buffet's pretty good. You wouldn't expect it. You don't get that at Lagoon or Belize. Yeah.
Or Six Flags.
Or Six Flags. Yeah, I don't know. That's for a Utah audience. But yeah, you don't get that, kind of food everywhere. But man, Xplor, they do a big buffet, lots of options, and they had the best Coke products.
It was really good. And it was awesome because the buffet was open from like lunchtime until close. Yep. So we went back to the buffet before we left.
And
so you were there the whole day.
Yeah, we were there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yep.
We should have gone to the buffet. That's fun.
I could have gone around 2 at the buffet. There's a lot to do.
Honestly, the whole compound is really cool. Like they have all the buildings and like even like the locker room is really cool to like.
Yeah.
We would recommend number one, wear water shoes.
Wear water shoes, yeah.
Preferably like closed toe. Well, only if you want it like this, especially the underground expedition. That one.
Wear water shoes, guys.
Water shoes, like,
guys and girls.
I wore Tevas or Chacos or something like that.
And then I'd say another thing: wear a water shirt if you're a guy. And
like a dry fit.
Yeah,
shirt.
And for girls, you probably don't want to wear bikinis because you want to wear swimming clothes, but you also want to be like clothed, I guess, because nobody, because everybody's just constantly getting in water. So I wore just a normal shirt, like that I take to the beach or whatever. So it wasn't a swim shirt, and I kind of regretted it because the whole time I just kept getting that swim shirt wet. But I didn't want to take off my shirt because then I'd be probably the only person walking around with my shirt off.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's something wrong with that. But
it's hard when you're on the zip line and you're harnessed in. And
you got harnesses going.
Yeah, they're like the ATV of a seatbelt, and I don't know.
I just didn't want to be the only one with this having a shirt on.
But we also didn't bring towels.
Yeah, but I don't know. The towels, if you forget towels, don't buy them there.
They're so
just
expensive.
Keep going.
Everything.
Other thing.
Oh, the sunscreen.
Oh, the sunscreen. Yeah. Oh, this is another thing that I'm gonna say.
Actually,
this is something I'll say to our listeners as well. Just word of advice if you've never been to Mexico.
Sunscreen.
Take everything you need if you're going to an all-inclusive resort, because I thought, it's Mexico. Everything's gonna be cheap. Like we can buy stuff there. If we need sunscreen, we'll buy it there. We got to the resorts, and this could just be our resort. Again, I don't want to bag on the resort. It was fantastic, everything we've said. So we still want that promo code. But the one thing that was just, really difficult was they had the gift shop, and the gift shop had everything you need. It had sunglasses, bathing suits, everything like that. And they had sunscreen, And we picked up a sunscreen probably this
like
big.
a spray sunscreen.
Spray sunscreen, size of a water bottle, like not that big. And we took it up, and the lady said, that'll be $43. And we looked at each other and we said, we'd rather burn. We're not paying $43. And then there was the smaller one. And we said, how much is the smaller one? She said, $27. And I said, no way. And there was another.
Where are you importing this from?
Yeah. And there was another couple, and the lady and the guy
sunglasses.
forgot sunglasses. They were there, at the beginning of the vacation. He forgot sunglasses. So they were just buying some. They didn't look very expensive. And they rang it up, and she said, honey, this is 9,000 pesos. That's $400. And so then he was like, oh, we're not. So word of advice, prepare.
You can always leave the resort.
Yeah, you could leave the resort. That's true.
That's where it's going to be cheap. But if you're wanting to stay at the resort, make sure to not forget.
Don't forget anything.
Bring extra sunscreen.
Yep.
Right.
And that you leave the resort and you go find the nearest OXXO.
Oh, worth it.
Yeah.
You would be cheaper to get an Uber to go out to probably a place that's an hour out, buy sunscreen there and come back, then buy sunscreen at the resort. So there you go. And that's why you get these tips.
Yeah.
That's right. Very good pro tip there.
Just go to the aloe vera making course. Instead of sunscreen.
Exactly.
So you can just get burned and then put the aloe vera on.
Exactly.
Very nice. Well, that sounds like a fun trip. Anything else noteworthy from the trip, or?
Oh, one more tip for Xplor. We took the bus option where they pick you up at your resort, which Xplor offers. They picked us up early, but it was fine because then we got to.
But like 5 minutes early. It wasn't early. It was 5 minutes.
Well, it was like 6:40 a.m.
Yeah.
And the park opens at 9. So,
that's what you mean. They pick you up early. Yeah. In terms of.
But it was great because, it was no hassle. We got there early, and then they let us in early. So we were like the first in line for the zip line.
It was.
They let you in early.
Take the bus option. Take the bus option unless you're trying to leave Xplor early. Unless you don't want to do the underground stuff. But we had a great time doing it. But the bus, no extra charge. Or no, I think it was a $15 charge to take the bus.
Yeah,
but it was
worth it.
So worth it. And they picked us up. The driver was nice, and I mean, we were one of the only ones in the bus at different times. So
it stops at different resorts along the way.
Well, it only stopped
at
when it picked us up, and then it just
I was asleep for the other one then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it only picked up a few and then just drove us all the way there because it's kind of further south from where we were. It was a long drive.
And on the way back, it only stopped at about 3 resorts.
Yeah, so it didn't go one by one, but we
nice.
did early, and then we just met up at a spot at 5 p.m. when it was time to leave, and there was the bus, and we got on and left. It was easy.
Nice.
Sounds like a great trip. So you'd give a thumbs up to, what is it called? Excellence again?
Yeah.
Excellence
Playa Mujeres. And they have 2 others on the same coast. I think
all right. And Taylor, you think you'd be willing to go back to Mexico?
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah.
Just for the Mexican Coke. Huh?
Oh yeah, the Mexican Coke, Jumex. I didn't know about Jumex, but I love Jumex.
The Diet Coke tastes better there too, in my opinion.
Everything tastes better. Fanta or Fanta?
Rack of lamb tastes better. Steak tastes better. Lobster tastes better.
Everything tastes better when you're on vacation, right?
Guacamole.
No, but the Fanta seriously does taste better.
Okay. I did drink a Fanta.
Did it taste better?
I don't really drink Fanta here, but I liked it there.
Yeah.
It was good.
You better.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you've been baptized into the world of Mexico, Taylor. That's awesome. So at this pace, I think you needed your next Mexico trip in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
So that's
the city.
Start planning.
Yep.
While I'm still here.
Mexico City. Yeah, we'll have to do a trip there again, huh? Melissa, Mike, you have any possibilities for Mexico trips in the future?
Oh, yes.
We're open. We don't have any plans, but
how's that PTO? You got any spare PTO?
I got some spare PTO. We'll always have some spare PTO for Mexico.
That should be our tagline. There you go. Well, Taylor, Mike, we appreciate you joining us for this special edition of Mexico Revealed. So
thank you. Yes, thank you for inviting us.
Remember, our listeners, remember to leave your comments, subscribe. What else, Sam? What else are they supposed to
buy
do?
us a taco on our website, MexicoRevealed.com. Make sure
the
to
bell.
like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications.
Yeah, you can send Taylor and Caroline a taco for their wedding.
Yeah. Absolutely. There you go.
All right,
we'll even write you a thank you letter.
Post-wedding gift.
I love tacos.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Glad you could join us on the podcast, Taylor and Mike, and we'll try and do some more trips with you. We'll get more content. So, and all you listeners, join us again. Thanks for joining us on Mexico Revealed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.